Here we be. It's our last show in September, and Ben needs, and in the pre-show, we're discussing Ben needs a haircut.
Every time we log on, I notice how out of place my hair is. You don't tell me this throughout the day, and that this is the way I look, and then I come on here and have to see myself.
You know, I think that falls under Lindsay's job to manage.
Once I leave the house, she's not in control.
Yeah, I think that's that. I'm not, that or we get a Flowbee in here and just
that would be cheaper than Sport Clips.
What a business that was! Just put a clipper and a ratchet clipper at that at the end of a power vac and call it a product and sell millions and millions of dollars.
Can you still buy a Flowbee?
Probably.
You probably, or do you have to get it on like the vintage market?
They might be in the back corner of Ollie's.
Probably.
Anyway, last show in September. Great fall weekend here in September. It's football season. I love football.
Do you?
Oh, yeah, football. Big Eagles fan, this guy right here. This guy. We're happy. And tonight is Cowboys-Giants. I'm conflicted. I'm conflicted because I want the teams without losses to fall by the wayside and just have my team be the only team. That would mean the Giants have to win, and they're 3-0 as well. So I'm conflicted there. But then that means if the Giants are 3-0, that means the Cowboys lose. There's the Flowbee.
But how long are the Giants going to be undefeated? Like if they win tonight, what's the reality of them staying on pace with the Eagles, right?
I don't know. I mean, look, they had that 8-8 season back in 07-08.
Oh,
the 07 season, the 08 Super Bowl. My son was born that weekend, my youngest. So yeah, I mean, strange things happen.
This is true.
I'm just saying
they are the Giants.
They are the Giants.
Yeah. And you want the Cowboys in the basement, right? I mean, that's like
always.
So take the sure thing.
That's right.
Root for the sure thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. So we're underway. Life is good. Football season's back. Penn State won again, although not as handily as maybe they should have.
Who did they play?
Central Michigan.
Oh, yeah. I was talking to somebody that afternoon. They're like, yeah, they're not doing what they should be doing to that team.
Penn State played Central Michigan, but they paid Central Michigan $9 million for that game.
Oh, my goodness.
It's a little known fact, those we'll get to this feedback here from Jennifer in a minute, but little known fact, maybe you know this, maybe not, but if you don't, now you know. Colleges, the big like D1 programs, they'll pay the D2 programs or lower tier D1 programs to play because that $9 million in the case of Penn State, Central Michigan, that funds all the other sports. It's what allows the, Central Michigan discus team to not take the Greyhound, across the state down to Wisconsin or over to Wisconsin. It allows them not to take the Greyhound. They can like rent buses and go. That's those funds do that. So
why discus?
I was just trying to make a random example. I'm not if you throw a discus, I'm not trying to beat on you. I'm not trying to punch down on you or anything. It just was an example. I'm sorry if I offended discus players of the United States of America. But anyway, yeah. So Jennifer says her son was born right before the Eagles won the Super Bowl, and it was hard to appreciate because you fell asleep. Well, Jennifer, what's your issue? You couldn't stay up? I'm just kidding. Hey,
Jennifer from Greystone Manor Therapeutic Center.
Yeah. So congratulations. What a weekend that was. Win the Super Bowl and your son is born that weekend. That'd be pretty cool. Congratulations that. So let's see, your son would be 4 years old, right? 2018 that was, yes. 4 years old this year.
Crazy,
so 4.5, almost 5.
Yeah.
Well, I think 5 years is a great time for the Eagles to repeat, I think. And then repeat.
What was it before then? I mean, they hadn't won since 19 – or no, that was their first Super Bowl winner, wasn't it? I don't mean to bring this up. I'm not a big football guy. I don't know all the history, but it's okay. So you're saying they started an every 5-year thing 5 years ago. All right, we're moving on.
Which Cowboys fan paid you to say that?
This unknowing football non-fan.
I can't co-host with you. We're 60-some episodes in. You should have
65.
better You really should have a 65. Is that really what we're
I
at?
think either 64
It's
or
a
65.
nice round number.
Yeah.
Anyway, we jumped right in about what this is. This is not a show about two guys talking about flow bees and football and athletic departments begging for dollars from bigger athletic departments. This is a show about Lancaster County, Lancaster Connects, the show where we highlight great charities, great people doing great things in our county. You're getting a belated happy birthday.
I think that's from Zuckerberg himself.
There you go. But
Thank you.
that's what this show is about. Really, shining light on the great people in Lancaster County doing good things. That's what we're here to do with Lancaster Connects. Our guest today is a mystery guest. We're going to bring that person on momentarily.
It is an in-person
no
mystery
less.
guest.
It's like a twofer bonus. It's not a dial in and a surprise. But so you get to win prizes on our show. Facebook user, if you end up winning, you're going to have to identify yourself because that's just how it goes. But you get in the prize contest at the end of the show by making comments on the show, right here in the show. And we draw that with the prizelator because Chris, our producer from Cast Ahead, is fantastic at running our show. So we'll do that at the end. But you win a Less Snore, More Cuddle drinkware piece or a $25 gift card to a local restaurant of your choice. And you just type that comment in. It's like super easy. I guess even emojis count. What some of our super fans, Jana and Takesha, they do that at times. So we wouldn't want to exclude anybody. The
kids like doing the emojis.
That's right, man. Your daughter, you say that, right?
it's like she has whole conversations with her friends, and I think it's just emojis
and hieroglyphics. It's like hieroglyphics.
Yeah, it's like that happy birthday message that's on the screen there. Yeah, just a bunch of emojis to convey an emotion. There you go.
Ben's pointing at the screen as though you can see it. You can't.
We got a happy sign, a birthday cake.
Michelle is just like, hey, she's here. Great. Thank you for tuning in. We appreciate you.
Is that a pie? I don't know. I'm trying to dissect the emojis. And a donut.
It's a birthday cake.
Okay, birthday. Well, what's the thing in the middle? Like a taco.
It's a cornucopia. Now it's just going off the rails. We're 8 minutes in. It's off the rails.
Who's Facebook user? We got to figure this out.
I don't know. They're just
messing with us.
It's a bot. I don't know. It's a whole bot thing. Anyway,
man.
Enough of that. So we did something pretty cool here recently. We have a great reputation in the county, and it's Captain Kurtz. No wonder they're trying to be all stealthy. Anyway, we have a reputation that we earn every day by delivering 5-star service. We ask our customers if we've earned a 5-star review. We'd love for you to post that, and they do. So they either put them on Facebook, they put them on Google, they handwrite them in. Mm-hmm. We've got like 3 binders of handwritten reviews that continuously come in. We give you the form, you write it out, you mail it back, you put your stamp on it. And, as just a show of appreciation, twice a year, we draw a gift card. So anybody that gives us a review, we basically log it and we draw your name. And that's how you get in. You don't have to purchase anything. So the contest law police, I offended the discus people. This is, we're going to get the contest law people appeased. If you want to give us a review, you don't have to buy anything. You just give us a review and you're in the contest. So it's real simple. So twice a year, we draw a $500 gift card, and congratulations to the Morales family. We have a photo of them. They won this first half of the year contest. They actually were able only to get in recently to pick it up. So congratulations to them. The Moraleses, did I say that right? Like
sure.
if you, the Giagnocavos, you just put that S, but the Moraleses, the Morales family, that's just easier to say.
There you go.
They were in, and they picked up their $500 gift card. So congratulations to them. And if you want to get in, you just give us a review and we'll draw that after the new year. So we do it twice a year. Pretty simple.
Yeah.
Customers like it and we like doing it. And we love earning those 5-star reviews. Jessica, we think it's nice too. Man, our comments are on fire so far.
Yeah. I'm glad we identified who Facebook user was.
That's right. Was it freaking you out? It was
going to mess with me a little bit.
Yeah.
But it figures that it's Kurtz.
It figures it's Captain Kurtz.
Yeah. So does he has a Facebook account called Facebook user, or does he have some ninja trick that he can like hide his name?
I'm going to say it's a ninja trick.
Yeah.
Yep. Yep. At any rate, I think it's time for mystery guest.
Mystery guest. We got a great guest, an in-person guest. He is an institution in Lancaster, an institution in this business, I think, right?
Sure.
Paved the way for all the things that we do here at Gardner's Mattress and More. You know, from our customer service experience to the types of products and sleep solutions that we provide here. He kind of started it all 32 years ago. I think I've given it away. This point.
I mean, I was just going to say, you're like, we need to brush up on your podcast hosting abilities because by the fourth or fifth clue, people should get it in, not the fourth second.
So the funny thing is, you know, mom and dad tune in, right? So mom and dad were at Julian's baseball game on Saturday. Like, we've got to know who this mystery guest is. I'm like, well, I can't tell you. And they're like, I bet it's this person. And we're like, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Well, before we reveal it, if you haven't got it, let's have anybody watching try to type in. So Nichelle, it is not Drew. Although Drew's here, he's not our mystery guest.
And it's not a ninja.
It's not a
ninja.
No,
that's he's saying he's a ninja.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
well, a ninja would be a cool guest. But I guess it's not a ninja.
Yep. Nope, not. So anyway, do we want to make some room?
Mm-hmm.
And then we can
Let's
have our mystery guest join us. And it is appropriate because, oh, look at this. We're even like, see, I like it.
The big reveal.
The big reveal. There it is. Mr. Jim Gardner is our mystery guest today.
And I'm here to represent the Flovey victims of America. So.
Please leave the comedy to Jeff and Ben.
See, I like that. See, you just move over there.
I'm way too high on this fake stool anyway.
You lost your seat.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to carry on.
What are you going to do?
I'll be right back.
Oh, here we go.
You can just get on your knees instead.
And then there were two. So now we're moving furniture around. Look at that. Fantastic. Anyway, so we have Jim Gardner in town. So Jim, you now reside where?
In Sebastian, Florida.
Yep. Sebastian, Florida, doing the snowbird thing, enjoying it.
No, not snowbird. I'm a permanent resident.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you're a permanent bird.
Yeah. I did the snowbird thing for a few years, but once I figured I didn't have to pay taxes in this state anymore, if I moved, I moved.
Yep. Why don't I move this way a touch? We'll have Jim
there you go. Okay.
Scoot over this way a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry, folks. We didn't really prepare.
We don't have in-person guests.
Yeah,
so this is like
we're usually doing the Brady Bunch talking head thing.
New territory.
So we're all now nice and cozy and tight. So Jim's in from Florida. He was sharing earlier. He has, because Florida's so nice, you have one pair of pants?
Well, actually, I have 2 pair of trousers, 1 pair of jeans, and a couple of pairs of shorts, and a lot of T-shirts.
Living life.
That's the way to do
Living
it.
life.
So I tell people at this time of year, if you have a pool, a TV, and an air conditioner, you're set. You just don't have to go outside very much because 3 months of the year, it's not very pleasant. The rest of the year, it's perfect.
Yep.
Yeah.
So we were talking before the show. In fact, we were talking at lunch. Your career in the bedding industry started right across the street.
Park City Mall. Yeah.
In what year?
1973 or 4. Yeah.
Okay. And what was that store and what were you selling? Because
Well,
it's a little different than this store
it's
now.
a little different.
The products are a little different too.
I had a back injury. I was on my way home from a doctor visit after that, and happened to drive by a store that was opening up that morning called York Waterbeds. And I parked my car. I thought, what the heck is a waterbed? And I walked in, and when I walked out, I owned a waterbed. And 3 days later, they hired me to open the store in Park City, and so I started making my commute over here every day for the next year and a half or two. And we had one of the very first waterbed stores on the East Coast, and that's how the whole specialty bedding became a thing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you walked into a store because your back hurt.
Yep.
A mattress store, and then
That was it.
walked out with a bed, and then started selling them.
Started selling.
A few days later. That's awesome.
We need some customers like that as of late because we're looking to hire a delivery driver. So come be a
I'm
customer.
sorry, I'm not available.
So come be a customer, and then we'll hire you 3 days later. I like that. So waterbeds. So I think like at one point in the U.S., I think I heard a number that like 1 in 4 or 1 in 3 people owned a waterbed. They were very popular.
Most people didn't really understand how popular it became, but I understand the industry reached a point of about $5 billion a year in the U.S.
Wow.
And when I left Lancaster, because the business here was failing, not because of lack of sales, but they weren't managed very well. And I decided to try to stay in the business. I went to the first trade show that we had in California, met up with some people from Rochester, New York, and ended up relocating there and helping them open 20 stores all over the state of New York. And after doing that for a couple of years, I worked with a water mattress manufacturer out of Boston. And when I came back to York, it was the week after 3 Mile Island. I got a great deal on a rental house. And at that point, I went to work for what was actually the oldest waterbed store in Baltimore, and was then contacted by the third largest furniture company in the country to develop something for them. And we ended up opening waterbed stores for them. And they were like, what's a waterbed? But they didn't care as long as they could make money. And we opened 20 stores from northern Baltimore down to central Virginia, and ran that for another 7 years or so. At which point I got tired of working for someone else for nothing, and I decided to come back to Lancaster and open one store. Swore I'd never open a second store. I didn't want more than 5 employees because I was tired of having 167 people working for me.
I've heard the stories.
Yeah, Ben has heard this many times. And if my wife was here, her eyes would be rolling. But
she did just pop her head in, and then she walked back out.
Yeah.
She heard you and then left.
But we opened the one store here in Lancaster in 1990 on Black Friday, and waterbeds at that point were starting to tail off because other things were becoming available, and we transitioned out of waterbeds over a period of time, and mostly into other types of specialty bedding and Tempur-Pedic mattresses as an example, and latex bedding. And something I always found interesting is that 53 years ago, before I was married, my wife and I bought our first latex mattress. Most people have no idea even today what it is, and it's the backbone of this business now.
Yep.
Latex is a superior sleeping product, and you don't have to stick a hose in it. So it's real nice. It's a lot easier to deal with. But so we've had latex, Tempur-Pedic mattresses, and waterbeds. That was my career. And I'm so pleased that I met Ben,
22 years ago. Yeah, pretty much September of 20.
Now, he talked about this haircut he needs. Well, when he came to work for me, he showed up for his interview with a baseball cap on. He sat in his car out waiting to come in for his interview, pulling his cap off and straightening his ponytail out. For about 10 minutes before he walked in.
I don't think it was 10 minutes.
It was. We sat inside. And got
I don't remember this at all. I mean, I remember
this is
meeting you for the first time. I don't remember sitting in my car for 10 minutes.
This is the picture we need.
Yeah.
Ben and his ponytails.
There's some that exist. I mean, these things didn't exist back then, right? So there's far less photos than there might be now.
I think our producer could find it. Maybe not on this show, but in subsequent ones.
Oh.
And then just like sprinkle it in at a moment.
That's right.
Of his choosing. At any rate, so Ben, you started in 2000 with Jim. How did that come to be?
So the funny thing is, a lot of people ask, like, how did you get in the business?
You're not Ben Gardner.
I'm not Ben Gardner.
I would be more than happy if he was, but he's not my child.
Jim has always treated me like a father. But no, I had a friend in college at Millersville who worked for you, Brian. And I think he just worked part-time, in between school classes and whatnot. And I had just graduated from Millersville with a teaching degree that I wasn't sure if I was going to use or take a little bit of time off and figure it out. Lindsay, my wife, still had a year left of school. So I didn't want to leave the area because we were dating at that time. So, and I was a little bit lazy, so I was I don't really remember the conversation specifically, like what was said, but at some point Brian said, well, we need a helper to deliver mattresses. Would you want to come help deliver mattresses? I'm like, yeah, well, sure, I'll do that. I was working at the time at Rohr's Hardware, which unfortunately isn't there anymore, but great company to work for too. And I was, yeah, sure, I'll help out and deliver mattresses. So I came in, I apparently fixed my hair for 10 minutes and then came to the store, and one thing led to another.
Did you ever get a ponytail stuck in a box spring?
No.
Oh, okay.
No. I don't know how you would do that.
There's always a first.
Well, I don't know, like in the little corner guard.
Oh, yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's like pull the hair back.
No. Nope. So I started delivering mattresses in September of 2000. And then within
the millennium.
In the millennium. And then a sales position opened up like a month or two later, and you came to me and said, you want to sell too? I'm like, okay, cool. We'll do that. So that was you kind of took me under your wing from there, and one thing led to another, and here we are, 22. Oh gosh,
there you go.
There's a younger Ben.
That was on one of his busy days working for me when I was out to lunch, I guess.
Well, that was here, but that was like right after we opened here.
Yeah.
That's my hair hasn't been like that in a long time.
All right,
that's not the long hair that Jeff is talking about or Jim's talking about.
I'm going to pull it. I'm going to do something that I'm not sure Ben's ready for. But since I got them both here, and that picture prompted me with this thought.
I think I know where you're going.
So Ben tells me of a Sunday.
We've never talked about this.
So we're going to see. This is kind of like, when you're sitting around with your kids.
This would have been early on.
And your kids are talking about, all the bad stuff they did. And your parents kind of thought they knew, but they didn't really know the whole story. So here's the whole story.
Finally, it's coming out.
So on a Sunday afternoon, Ben tells me, and I don't know if there was any partying Saturday night before.
Oh, there probably was. I was in a band at that point, so we had gigs and stuff like that. Yeah,
that's right. So this Sunday afternoon, I guess little Benjamin was tired.
With his ponytail. Yep.
And disappears back in one of the corners of the store.
It was on the canopy waterbed with the mirrors and the TV and the.
So it's a waterbed. So it's a waterbed, folk, right?
And vibration.
So if you don't know about waterbeds, you could heat them up, you could vibrate them up. Was it a full flow?
No,
waveless.
Waveless. Probably had a mirrored canopy.
Top.
So he's straightening his hair while he's laying there. Yeah.
Yep.
So
laser disc player.
Yeah. So Ben falls asleep on a Sunday afternoon while the store's open.
Yep. It happened.
And he thinks that.
Did this happen? Did you walk in and see me sleeping?
Did you walk in and see him sleeping?
I'll never tell.
Oh, he's going to hold it.
We'll save that for the next episode.
I know somebody was there and then they were gone, and there it was. I mean, this was probably
the poker face. Poker face on Jim. I wonder.
This was definitely early on, before I got responsible.
Yeah.
It was a ponytail. I cut the ponytail, and then it was.
Yeah. That's the dream room.
Well, and the way that actually started, I think I was away at a trade show at the time when Brian was doing the deliveries and needed help for delivery. He said, would it be okay if I asked my roommate to help out? So this was virtually supposed to be a one-day help out thing. And I came back and I said,
that's not what you told me.
Yeah. I said to Brian, how did he do? He said, he did great. So I then met Ben. I hadn't even met Ben until that time. I met Ben. And I said, can you help again? Yes. And we did this a couple of days, and I recognized that this is a guy that I got to keep hold of. And so I was more than happy when that sales opportunity opened up and Ben was willing to take it.
Yep.
And I got to tell you, it's maybe I'm jumping ahead in the story, but if it hadn't been for Ben, Gardeners would have not survived to my retirement. He really made this company happen for us. And he was. I never learned how to use a computer. I always hired people to do things. I was good at hiring people that knew how to do things, and he was in the age and I wasn't to learn these things, and so it got us through and got me to a retirement, and I was very happy for that, and couldn't be more happy that I got these two guys together to end up with Gardeners.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and let's kind of dig into that. So. Ben started in 2000. I started in 2002. I was in building products here in town, working for a big corporate company, and kind of got tired of the corporate culture and responded to an ad actually with one of Jim's longtime business acquaintances and friends. So Ed puts in the newspaper locally. Ed was a manufacturer's rep who serviced national accounts, local accounts, sales/service, called Ed Pine. And that was it. So
You don't know what it is.
I didn't know what it is, but I'm like, well, that's kind of what I was doing. And it seems like anybody that's going to put a little 1-inch by 1-inch ad out straight to the point like that's a guy I can get down with. So I called him up, and I ended up working for Ed. And so my interesting story of starting in this industry is we came to terms on our deal like a week before I got married. So I get back from my honeymoon and I give notice to the building products place that I'm out, and I start with Ed in the fall of 2002. So it's actually my official 20th anniversary, I guess, this month, because that would have been September of 2002 that I started. So then I get to know Gardeners because you guys were customers of mine, and of Ed's at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then as Ed retired, you were my customer. So I knew Ben, and I knew Jim, and I knew the quality of character, and I knew the quality of service and the quality of products really for 10 years prior to us coming together. So we kind of had like a 10-year dating relationship before business partnership.
Don't tell my wife.
You would come to the house and with your van.
Yeah, I had my van, my Sprinter van that everybody thought it was weird to drive around in, but I had mattress samples in the back of that van.
It was cool. I mean, nobody else was doing that kind of stuff.
Brought the show to you, and we could check them out in the parking lot like a bunch of, I don't know,
mattress nerds,
bunch of weird mattress nerds in the parking lot. But yeah, so Ben and I, and Jim, we knew each other for a while, and then I guess it would have been the fall, because it was a High Point market, the fall of what?
2010.
Yep. And Jim, you mentioned we're in, I forget what space so High Point Furniture Market, should clue people in. High Point Furniture Market's like where the world descends on High Point, North Carolina for all things furniture, not so much mattresses anymore, but like interior design, decor, you name it. It's kind of like the world's marketplace for this stuff where retailers go and pick new programs and merchandise. So we're there in one of the spaces I was representing.
I think it was a Corsicana space.
Yeah, it might have been. Mm-hmm. And do you want to pick up on the story, Jim? You recall?
No, I wasn't prepared for that. So you go ahead. So I'm enjoying myself.
Yeah. So Jim says, "Hey, I think you should maybe consider retail because my lease is up and I'm ready to retire, and Ben wants to continue, but it might be better as a partnership." And so we talked for a handful of months and came together, and now here we are.
Yeah. I will mention what happened at that point. I loved what I did. I worked 60 or 70 hours a week for my whole career. I just really enjoyed doing what I was doing, but I was doing it more out of fear than anything else because I was just afraid that every week would I be able to keep it going. And so I was coming up on my lease, and I had been in the same location for 20 years. And I went to my landlord. I was going to ask them to allow me to have a 3-year lease instead of a 5-year lease so that I could retire when I was planning. And unbeknownst to me, when I walked in thinking it was going to be a piece of cake, I was told, "I'm sorry, but Dollar Tree wants your location, so you're out." And all of a sudden, I was given 6 months to be able to be out of the location. And this was in around 2008, whenever this nastiest economic situation was occurring. And I had no prospects of selling the business. Ben, quite frankly, wasn't interested at that point, not quite ready to take on.
Didn't know what I didn't know.
Not even didn't want to take on that responsibility. And so I was faced with a real serious dilemma because I had to be out of the location. And I thought, well, if I have to stay in business, I have to find a new location. Well, I believe in the Lord, and the Lord really shined upon us all because we put it together, found the financing, got Ben interested. He finally, I think, coerced his wife into letting it happen, if I may say so. Sorry,
it was basically
Lindsay.
draining the savings at
Yeah.
a time where she was
Yeah.
quitting her job and going back to school full time. It was
Yeah.
like
And,
crazy timing.
And just to back up to my very beginning, and when I started in business, I had zero money, and I was just very fortunate to have the same accountant as my grandmother, who had just ended up with a $50,000 that she needed to invest somewhere, and he knew that it would be safe. And so that $50,000 investment started out with a promise to pay it back in 5 years, and I paid it back in 1. And so when these two guys got together and put their heads together, and they found a location, and they went about having to build it out, I guess you were about 2 months or so in the process before you could open. And
there's some old man. Chris is digging back.
Yeah,
there's some old pictures.
But when you put it together, and I always told people that I really thought I'd have a very difficult time retiring, that I was so involved that I thought I'd really stressed out over that. But the last 6 months was so stressful that the day that I locked the door, I was done. And I have to tell you, in the 12 years since that time, I have not even looked at a betting ad one time. I haven't bet.
So you were able to walk away.
And I offered these guys, look, if I can be of any help to you, I can't say that I could, but I'm more than happy to consider it. And they never needed me, and I'm just as glad for that, because I'm very happily retired at this point. But I tell everyone I run into that I could not be more proud of what these guys have done with this company and taken it forward.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Former employee Chris Newcomer, delivery employee from probably 2004, 5, 6, something like that. He just said, "Good to see you, Jim."
Hey.
Chris actually has his own screen printing business. He was a guest on the show many months ago. But yeah, he's doing really well. He's got his own screen printing company and does a lot of business with a lot of companies in Lancaster here. So former employee that's moved on to bigger and better things.
So Ben starts in 2000. Jim began it in 1990 across the street at the mall. A lot's changed, I mean, there were a lot of local competitors. Even in our time, there's been, unfortunately, a lot of local competitors that have gone by the wayside. Finding this location, was not easy. The location we're in wasn't our first choice per se. And I'm trying to think of which one were we thinking?
Well, there's the one on Fruitville Pike where there's a couple of Asian restaurants, like down from Walmart and near Route 30.
Yes.
There's I can't think
where
of
At Home is.
Yeah, near there. And then there was another one in Granite Run we were looking at, but that was kind of too off the beaten
Sky
path.
Zone now or something like that.
Yeah, it's like a bounce house place or something.
Yep. So this location was a beer distributor, an electronics place.
Quest
It was
Fitness.
a health club.
It was a health club fitness center last, and needed a lot of work. And so we ended up picking this one because, there's a lot of great things about Lancaster County. But if you're looking to be in business and like a retail business, have a location, a brick and mortar location between the pikes, between Oregon Pike and Fruitville Pike. Is that right? Am I thinking about that the right way? Yeah.
Or Manheim Pike.
Manheim Pike is the last one, I guess. It's built up. I mean, it's pretty tight. So we just decided this would be the spot because we could the rent was good, was at a good rate. And we could put some dollars into advertising, and that's what we did. And here we are now, and it's 32 years later, still celebrating the Gardener's name for Gardener's Mattress and More. A little tweak on the original name, which was...
Well, it went through many transitions. It was Gardener's Waterbeds originally, then it became Gardener's Mattress and Waterbeds, then it became Gardener's Mattress Futon and Waterbeds. And we went through all those transitions. Beds, B-E-Z-Z-Z, right? Yeah. And so the sign got longer and longer, but we Ben and I were speaking earlier about how hard we used to work to be able to buy the furniture that we sold. We sold bedroom furniture that matched the waterbed frames that we sold. And we worked so hard at that for so little payback. But our business really was water beds originally, and then other specialty beds, which it is now primarily today. And I don't think I would have ever sold a mattress with a spring in it had I not lost my primary source. I had it sort of ripped out from under me unceremoniously, and I had to reinvent myself. And we included spring mattresses, which was never my thing. I was always into the specialty thing, but it was another transition, another time, and we made it work.
Yeah.
One of the key components of what we do here is really our customer service. It shows in our reviews and whatnot, and really the core of that comes from what I learned from you from working retail with you. Did your philosophy, talking with customers, working with customers, I was always blown away by the time you spent with your customers and, how you talked to them and how you treated them. And it was, it's really a focus of what we do here. Did that come from anywhere? Is it something?
Well, my family was in business forever. And the key thing in the mattress business or any, I was not competing directly because I was selling water beds up against companies that were selling mattresses with springs. But we were one store, and we were going up against companies that had 600 stores, and there are massive chains of companies stores that had hundreds and hundreds of stores, and I couldn't compete with that on a direct one-to-one basis. So I felt the best way for me to operate was to do exactly what they don't do: give great customer service, listen to our customers, find out what they really need. I was very much into not just giving them a good night's sleep, but we dealt with people that had a lot of physical ailments, backaches and problems. And, I think at least half of our customers came in with very specific physical issues. And I certainly have no medical background, but I've had plenty of backaches in my life.
Well, it's like that first story.
It all began with backache.
That's right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that personal testimony can.
So I always felt that we did what the other guy wouldn't do. And a very big part of our business immediately after waterbeds, as they were transitioning away, we did a very, very heavy Tempur-Pedic business. It was before most of the other products were being developed. And Tempur-Pedic, we were selling $300 and $400 waterbeds, and all of a sudden we're looking at Tempur-Pedics that sell for thousands of dollars. And most stores, when they first put Tempur-Pedic on their floor, they stuck it back in the corner where no one would see it, and it was like they'd only go there if they had to. Where
like in my case,
in my case, it was like, well, that's what I got to sell, So we took them back and showed it to them, and it was a superior product. And like I say, I think latex is supplanting that now. But they're both wonderful quality products, and it couldn't be about price. Where the average mattress store was out advertising $5.99 queen size beds, we weren't in that game, and we weren't asking people I always loved it when people would come in looking for a $5.99 bed and ask if I had a lifetime warranty. I went, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
Right.
We were all about selling them a better night's sleep, better quality, and being totally devoted to service. And that's the only way that we thrived. We thrived because of that.
Well, I gave a presentation over the weekend. One of these online business growth summit type presentations. And I shared, and the host couldn't believe it afterwards when I shared this number, but, based on what we do here, we do a good business. If we were to align with one supplier, right, like one name brand supplier, we would, just on paper, the volume we do currently, it would likely put upwards of $250,000 to our bottom line. Not necessarily in Ben and Jeff's pocket, but just the bottom line as far as price rebates go. So better pricing, rebates, advertising dollars, other kinds of slush funds that manufacturers give to their gallery type stores. And on paper, that sounds like way too hard to pass up, right? And we've left the name brand game, accepting Tempur-Pedic because of their longevity of quality. and the happiness that they, their products give our customers. But the rank and file mattress name brands we left 5 years ago. So you're talking about over $1 million. And that's a really real number, but that's just on paper. And when we talk about working hard, we do work harder. On paper, a store our size, one location, has no business, on paper, dealing with the amount of vendors that we do. But because we work harder, we get to curate the best of the best. And it kind of sounds like that was the same thing you did, right? Like, rather than just go the easy way, you went a different way.
Oh yeah, we spent a tremendous amount of time at trade shows for being a single store. And when I was running a 20-store operation, so we were in the multi dozens of millions of dollars worth of business a year. So when we'd go to a manufacturer, they'd cater to us. They'd take us in and wine and dine us, or at least attempt to, and hope to gain our business. Well, then I'd start off by saying, well, how much is a train car load or a truckload? And then it got down to a point where I'd say, well, how about a pickup truckload? Because that's what you buy when you buy for a single store. And it was like, go away and leave us alone.
Right.
Until they found out that we were totally loyal. We were totally dedicated to selling quality and service.
Yep.
And so we still went to trade shows and shopped as if I was buying for 20 stores. And again, Ben and I this morning had this conversation about the fact that we worked so hard to buy for such a small volume in comparison. But I gained the respect of the manufacturers because I didn't demand from them like I could when I had that power as a big buyer. And so they were loyal to us, and we were able to continue doing that business. But we spent an inordinate amount of time going to trade shows. When Tempur-Pedic came out, most people knew that product by name, but they didn't understand what memory foam was, and it's classified as a memory foam. Well, Tempur material was a specifically different material. They developed it, they designed it, they created it, they perfected it. And then from that moment on, everyone came along trying to get as close as they could at half the price or less. Mm-hmm. And I felt my job was, in order to protect the Tempur-Pedic product, was to find the next best thing to Tempur-Pedic at the best price we could as an alternative. Mm-hmm. So virtually every 6 months, I would consider changing vendors if somebody else came along with a better product.
Yep.
Yep.
So we knew that there were customers who would be and had to be more price oriented, and we wanted them to have a quality product too. So we worked very, very hard to get the right product for them. And I'm proud of what we were able to do, because whether it was big brand name and the price didn't matter, that was one thing. But if it was the average guy on the street that wants a great night's sleep and a durable product, we could supply that to them as well.
Yep.
And I think the thing that we've all learned over the years is, people recognize brands, right? Mm-hmm. They might recognize something they see on TV or now the internet, but brand doesn't equate, or price doesn't equate to comfort and sleep solution, right? But what we do here and what we did in the Gardener's Bedrooms days, people trusted you. They mm-hmm. trusted your advice. Mm-hmm. It didn't matter what you were selling, Tempur-Pedic or something else. They trusted that the products you had on your floor and we have on our floor here at Gardener's Mattress More were good quality sleep solutions from good quality companies that stand behind their product. And they're looking to us and to you at Gardener's Bedrooms back in the day for sleep advice, listening to their sleep needs and recommending products that best fit mm-hmm. those needs. So, the brand thing is just, it's always funny because, we compete against the big chains, and that's all you're going to find on their floors. But that doesn't equate to better night's sleep at all.
I mean, really, those chains, I think if they didn't have that support from those funds that I laid out, mm-hmm. I don't know that they'd be able to exist.
Yeah, they basically buy their way onto your floor, mm-hmm. and the customer isn't the retail customer isn't their concern. They just want to turn product and make profit, and that's what you're in business for. But you can do it with a little bit of work. You can do it more legitimately and have your customer be the reason for it, not just an accident that happens along the way.
Yeah.
Good point.
Very well put. Very well put. So I think we're approaching the time for Connection Cocktail.
Connection Cocktail.
Is that right? Is that what we're thinking?
Yeah, I think so.
Let's do that, and then we'll do our sleep better tip, and then we'll talk about what's coming up next. Here
We don't have any drinks, Jim.
Oh, daggone! You promised me. Come
He
on.
was ready to get the booze out.
So the Connection Cocktail, usually we talk to our guests, learn more about them personally, what they like to do in Lancaster, that sort of thing. So you're a York County native,
I am.
and we allowed you to come back into Lancaster, visit the store, that sort of thing.
We had to arrange for the passport across the bridge this morning with the local magistrars, but yes, Jim's here.
So York County native, why did you pick Lancaster versus York or anywhere else? Like why Lancaster for your own store?
Mm-hmm. I don't want to cast aspersions on Yorkers because I am one.
Oh, we do that all the time.
But,
They might revoke your pass going back.
If I'm allowed, I don't live there anymore, so I can say what I want, right? No, what I found is that York people are not as no. Let me turn it around. Lancaster people may be more frugal. York people are more cheap.
Okay.
It became much more about price. And in all the years that I was in business and sold this product these products from 1973 on, I only worked in York for less than a half a year. The rest of the time I lived in New York, worked in Baltimore, Washington, Northern Virginia. I moved to Rochester, New York and covered the state. I moved to Boston and covered New England. I moved back to York and worked in Baltimore and Washington again. All that time I was sleeping in York and working elsewhere. And when it came time to open my own business, I thought Lancaster's the place to be. The economy here, it just shows. It's a very successful, very vibrant community. And I always enjoyed the fact that my very first year in the waterbed business was in Park City. And so I was glad to get back here. But I felt that in Lancaster, you can offer a quality product for a quality price and be appreciated for it rather than just being, well, who's got the cheapest game in town. And a good example of that right now is that you can hardly find a place to buy furniture in York County because nobody can survive there. It all became about price. So that's why I came to Lancaster, and very, very happy to have been here.
Well, and Lancaster County as a whole has been a place of attraction for a number of reasons, whether that's for education, whether that's for living, whether that's, for culture. And it shows. I mean, you look at the surrounding areas, Reading, Harrisburg, York has some rebirth to it as of late, but you look around the region, Lancaster is leading the way. And that's one of those things that starts years ago, but it's on us to continue to support it. That's why we do this show, because we support great charities and great people helping the area. So yeah, we don't have our show notes normally because we're doing this in person and we have a deeper connection to our guests than normal. What's our next question for Connection Cocktail? Let's ask. Well, okay, so you're down in Florida now, and I know Wawa's down there, but
Okay.
So what's your preference? Wawa, Sheetz, or Rutter's, or Turkey Hill?
Well, we don't have Turkey Hill at all, and they were not my preference. I would say probably Wawa, but I'm wherever I happen to be, I'll find Wawa probably because they have a good soft pretzel. Let's leave it a little.
Okay.
And one thing
We
I'll
haven't
tell
heard
you,
that one
folks,
yet.
if you folks ever think about moving to Florida, definitely create a good pretzel connection so somebody can ship you good pretzels, because we don't have them in Florida, nor do we have any decent donuts down there. So, it's
So who's your go-to pretzel? Like, is there a Central PA pretzel?
Actually, the couple of companies that I preferred their product are generally no longer available. But there was a pretzel company out of Gettysburg. Gettysburg Pretzel Company made the best hard pretzel I ever ate. And in York County, one of the claim to fame for York County is Smitty's Soft Pretzels. They're a really good pretzel. But of course, I know over here it's Annie Ann's, and you know,
Yeah.
there are some things where I'm still a Yorker, I have to admit, and but,
So last question.
and
then.
don't get me started on maple donuts. You know, that's
So last question then. You live in Florida now. So what are some great things about this area that you share with other? Is it Floridians, Floridaites?
Yeah, well, the thing
Just like I
about
struggled with the
Floridians,
Morales.
when I first went to Florida, we joined a church, and we found that in the entire population of the church, there was one woman who was native to Florida. Everybody else is from somewhere else. And in our area of Florida, it happens to be very heavily populated with veterans, retired fire and police, mostly from New Jersey and Connecticut, New York. And we have a lot of people from the Midwest area, but really from all over. So everyone is from somewhere else. And the people, of course, we have the snowbirds, which we like to complain about them clogging up the roads half the time. But we always say, as long as they come and leave their money and then go home for a while, we're okay. We're okay with that. But the people in Florida, we find, are very nice. And it happens the area where we live is heavily populated with older population, and we've become very close to them. So I do prefer the area where we live on the central East Coast. It's quieter. It's not as well developed. It's trying to stay more old Florida rather than, and of course, every time I show pictures of our wonderful sunrises and sunsets, everybody comments on how much they love it. Then I point out to them, I didn't take the picture. I don't get up that early in the morning. But I also follow that up with pictures of alligators and all kinds of stinging and biting things, so that you'll stay here and not ruin our state down there. So.
Very good. Yeah, we were talking about all the slithery and what you have some kind of monsters roaming the street.
Yeah, we now have a new thing. It's sort of like a Gila monster type of thing.
Yeah,
They're about 3.5 feet long, and I saw the first one climbing up somebody's screen recently. So we do have a few different little things, but you know, they don't bite that hard.
So in other words, you're saying stay in Lancaster.
That's right.
Don't come to Florida.
Enjoy Lancaster
and buy a bed from Jeff and Ben.
That absolutely, that's what it's all about. This is the place to be.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, even though I'm in Florida, I do try to send some business their way. Yep. I've had people with the I'll give you guys a little blurb here, the little books that you guys put together and all that. No one in the industry does what these guys have done to be able to help the customer find the right mattress. And everyone comes to me, they say, oh, you're in the mattress business, tell us which mattress is the best one to buy. Well, that's the most impossible question to answer. And I say to them, it's not the mattress you're going to buy. You're going to buy the people that are offering the mattress. And for that, I suggest you contact these guys, and even if they're 1,000 miles away, they can help you out.
Yeah.
You couldn't have said it any better.
That's absolutely. And if you want to get your book, you go to gardnersmattressandmore.com/sleep-better. And on that note, on the tip that I would normally share, I would say continue, stick to your routine, especially with fall here. We're going to have the daylight savings time soon enough, although I haven't looked on the calendar when exactly it is. But routine and sleeps are very important. So waking up at the same time, going to bed at the same time. And when you do lose that 1 hour of sleep, it can set you back like you've taken a 6-hour round trip flight. It can throw you off that much. So be prepared for that. Drink lots of water the day before, the day after, really stick to that routine. The routine in your sleep can really pay a lot of dividends because your body begins to acclimate to it, process things through, get rid of toxins, do its resets in the night, and really help you just feel a lot better and get that restorative sleep that you really need.
Nice.
Yeah.
I like your off the script sleep tips.
It's my whole life, man. Yeah. I'm just Mr. Off the Script.
There you go.
I don't want to be contained by a script.
Aha. Well done. Well done. All right. So our testimonial. Oh, there's good advice.
Thank you, Jessica.
Jessica likes your
appreciate your feedback.
Our testimonial this week comes from a 5-star Google review from the other week. And it really goes back to the conversation we were having with Jim about the products and the philosophy behind the products that we've carried over the years and the customer service. So This person said, we had a wonderful consultative experience with Drew. He really took the time to understand our needs and wants and then directed us to the best options to fulfill them. As we tried various mattresses, he explained their advantages and disadvantages and answered our many questions. We really appreciated it. We really appreciated his knowledge and helpfulness. Our new mattress will arrive in a few weeks, and we're confident we made the right choice thanks to Drew's assistance and the quality of products Gardner's carries. I don't think we could have typed that out any better.
And you didn't have to pay for it. Huh?
Didn't have to pay for
That's
it.
great.
Just treat people the way we would ourselves want to be treated, and have quality sleep solutions.
And that really is it. That is what drove my business. The golden rule. There's never been anything better. You want to treat people the way you want to be treated, and if you do that, you'll live a good life.
That's right.
Yep.
And that rule sets the basis for next month, which is our 32nd anniversary. So that's the little graphic I think that we got down. There it is on the screen. So 1990 to 2022, 32 years, family ownership. Pretty special to have Jim share that he would have been honored to have been his own son. So while we're not a family company all those years, we have that family focus and that giving back to our community and serving our community right. So, we don't go in for the big events and the big discount tactics that, are out there that seem like they're good, but really don't equate to a deal. It's really ends up being the same price you would have paid without all the song and dance. But we will have some fun stuff for the anniversary event. So next week we'll talk about that on the show. You will never be punished by shopping today versus next week. Right here, us two, we will, you will not be penalized if you shop early. In other words, this week, we'll take care of you. But we have some fun stuff planned for the anniversary event throughout it. I will make mention, we do got a couple pieces sitting around. If you need a king mattress, we've got a couple really great kings that it's time to throw us an offer and we'll sell them. We got a handful of bed bases. So adjustable bed bases where you lift the head and the foot, relieve the tension in the body, snoring, acid reflux, back pain, circulation issues. The list goes on and on. Tremendous benefit. We have 4 model bed bases in full size, queen size, and 1 king size to offer. So that would be a great deal for you right now.
There's also a few queens.
Couple queens. We even have mystery mattresses. Ben doesn't even know this. So I'm big into creating products. There's a bunch of products here that I've created. One of them with one supplier. The mattresses are great, but the supplier just wasn't able to ultimately be the supplier. So these are mattresses in a box. You get to test out something very similar to it on the floor, but we're going to sell those amazing queen mattresses for less than half price. And you'll just get to take them home right away because they're all boxed up. So no extra delivery fee, super easy to get home and set up. So we have 3 of those.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, he did it.
Oh, wow.
That's my youngest brother, Mark. He's probably 9 or 10 there. And I probably was 18.
Yeah, that looks like Ben at his interview.
19. That was a few years before I met you, but that's pretty close. Wow. Thank you, Chris. So that's a high school photo, but I didn't have long hair then. My goodness.
That's
well, thank
funny.
you, Chris. We're going to do the same thing for Jeff next week. Nope, there's no photos that exist out
I'm
there.
locking up my house. I know
smarter than that. So at any rate,
it's time for the prize later.
I think it is time for the prize later. So we're going to fire that up.
I knew he'd find those photos.
So this is something we do, Jim, every week. From the comments, we pick the winner.
That's great.
And the winner is Nichelle Roy. Congratulations, Nichelle. So you can come in anytime we're open. Pick out your gift card or your Less Snore, More Cuddle drinkware, and we'll be more than happy to give it to you. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. It's a great show. Everybody loved Mystery Guest. Mystery Guest inspired Mystery Mattress.
Yeah.
So, and then next week's our anniversary kickoff for the whole month of October, and that's that. Jim, it's been a pleasure, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you.
I'm honored to have been here.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. And that's the show. So we'll see you next time on Lancaster Connects. Take care.